What is up, ladies and gentle nerds? This is Graham, also known as Hamhocks42 on the internet, and this is episode 2 of Overthinking MTG, the unplanned, unscripted, unedited show where I look at a random magic card and have to talk about it for 10 minutes. So, for those of you on the video feed, I am currently on gatherer.wizards.com, the official magic card database of Wizards of the Coast. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to everybody's favorite button, the random card. All right, let's see what we got. Throttle. Okay, I'm not familiar with this one. It's from Khans of Tarkir. It's a common. I'm smelling draft chaff. All right. It's 4 generic and 1 black for an instant. So, all right, instant speed. That's good. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn. And that's it. And then the flavor text says, "The best servants are made from those who died without a scratch." By Sidisi, Khan of the Sultai. Okay, generally speaking, the Sultai getting represented, I'm down with. Generally speaking, the blue, black, green combination is just mwah. There's so much fun, ridiculous reanimation nonsense you can use with that. I'm a big fan. So Sultai getting represented, okay. That said, this card is not good and constructed at all. I'm hesitant to say it's a bad card, just because I don't know. I'm sure if you're playing in limited in Cons of Tarkir and you crack one of your packs and this is in there, especially late in the draft, you're not mad just because it's removal. And any removal is good removal when you're in limited. But that's really the only situation when I can imagine this being even remotely decent, because getting 4/4 for 5 is just not a particularly good value. That said, when it comes to removal, there are so many different flavors of removal, and reducing a creature's toughness like this is a really great way to do it for a number of reasons. One, it gets around stuff like indestructible, because it that doesn't matter. Um, yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with that. It effects that prevent damage can't touch it. So there are a lot of go-to ways to protect creatures that can't do anything with a toughness reduction like this. So that's pretty great. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit on the card itself. Yeah, there we go. This card also has some interesting artwork. It looks like Sidisi is using her tail to strangle some poor guy, presumably one of the cons, maybe of the Mardu. I don't really know Tarkir as well as I should, given how big of a deal it was for the story. Just the fact that half the 3 color combinations are named after clans on Tarkir. I feel like I should probably have that down. But yeah, so Sidisi is really giving this guy the business, like fatally. Like there's no way he's surviving that. It's a rough go of it. But by the looks of it, couldn't help but notice that he has a weapon that appears to be carved out of some kind of creature's bone, presumably a dragon, because we're on Tarkir. So that's pretty brutal. Yeah, and I also find it funny if you scroll down this particular card has a community rating of 2 out of 5. If you're wondering what the community ratings are, well, don't worry about it because they're not a thing anymore. But there was a time on Magic, or on Gatherer rather, where there was a community element to it, where you could actually post comments and reviews of specific cards, and all of that functionality is still live on the website, but it doesn't work, and it hasn't worked in years. And so, which is why if you're wondering, if you look at your favorite standard cards and go, wait a minute, what's the rating on these? Yeah, there isn't one. Not because people don't have an opinion, it's because Wizards doesn't support that anymore for some reason. And it's really neither here nor there. At the end of the day, Gatherer is great for finding cards like this because it's just, yeah, there you go. The other thing, we're looking at the Cons of Tarkir edition specifically, and it's also testing the concept of the show quite a bit because I'm looking down at the clock and it's only been 4 minutes. I got 6 more minutes on this thing. Whew. All right, strap in, guys. We'll figure it out. We can get through this. We can do it together. All right. The other thing about this particular card, so it's at instant speed, which again, if you're in drafting, is pretty great. I couldn't help but notice that it's a reprint. It was apparently originally printed in Shadows over Innistrad. So, all right. And I I am afraid. This came out at a time when I wasn't really playing the game, and I'm scared of the idea of a standard meta where this is playable. That sounds really dreadful to me. I hope this was Draft Chaff like exclusive and nobody touched it. Given, in constructed formats, given the reviews, I'd be shocked. Especially because on Tarkir, so many of the creatures are huge. Given that you're going up against dragons, -4 to toughness. I mean, unless you've marked them with some other kind of damage or some other toughness reducing effect, I don't know. That's probably not going to be that great. Now that said, I don't have a, I'm not super well versed on that set, so I don't know specific cards off the bat. I know the dragons came in a lot of different shapes and sizes, not to mention all the cons that, is probably hit those too. So, it's all right. It's also splashable. I couldn't help but notice that, makes it more appealing in limited. So it's, one black and four colorless. So, or generic, as the kids are calling it. So in a draft situation, if you've got like a really killer green deck or a really killer blue deck, something else, and you just need some removal to it, you can splash a little bit of black, throw this in the mix, and you're good to go. So yeah, in general, I gotta say this is a very unimpressive piece. Yeah, if it got passed to me in like a chaos draft, I might take it. If there's a nothing but stinkers in the pack, it's fine. What is funny when you compare it to something like Ob Nixilis's Cruelty, which is kind of the newer version, which, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up just because I mentioned it. If I can spell Nixilis. Yeah, Ob Nixilis's Cruelty, which is an instant for 2 colorless and a black, where target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn, and that if that creature would die, you exile it instead. So I find this to be a very interesting counterpoint because it's 2 mana less, it's 1 toughness hit more, and you exile the creature afterwards. And you know what else? This is currently standard legal and nobody plays it. It's not present at all, which is I find shocking because it's a brilliant removal spell. And on top of that, like it's a brilliant removal spell, and it can kill things that are indestructible, like the gods, which I mentioned. So if we go back to Throttle, because I want to stay as on as focused as possible with this guy, it's just kind of lame. Just all in all, this card is lame. It costs too much, and you don't get enough value. This is a brilliant example of the kind of cards that are printed that are included in decks designed for new players so that they have something to look at and identify. That's actually a call out that I want to make. There's a time in every Magic player's journey when they look at a card and think, I don't think this is very good. Or wait, this doesn't synergize with this deck at all. And the example for me is the starter deck that I first picked up was a deck called Max Attack out of the Scourge cycle, and the deck contained a whole bunch of synergies with creatures that mana cost 6 or more. And there was one creature called Gluttonous Zombie, which cost 5. I'm not gonna regale you with the stats because it's not great. I think it's a 4/3 with fear for 5. Okay, I guess I will regale you with the stats, but for 5, it's not a good card. It's one of those kind of weak, low tier uncommons, and it didn't fit the synergy of the deck. And I'm pretty confident that the only reason the designers put that in that pre-con deck was so the player could have a moment where they look at it and realize, man, I wish this was just about anything else, and swap it out. And that's what I did. And there's that, and I think Spitting Gorna was another one that was a 5 cost creature. And it's like it's too expensive to be efficient and get out early, but it's not expensive enough to synergize with all this other cool stuff that I've got going on. I can't dig for it with a Fierce Empath. My Croson Drover doesn't make it cheaper. My Kurgadon doesn't get bigger when it comes into play. Kurgadon's another one. Look that thing up. It rules. It's like nobody plays it for some reason. I don't know. It's great. If you're playing fatties, just check it out. It's a beast from Scourge. It's a thing. Anyway, back to Throttle. Well, I couldn't help but notice Throttle couldn't kill Kurgadon. Just saying. But uh, actually, I think it could when it first comes out. Anyway, now I'm second guessing the stats, the stat line on that guy. Doesn't matter. Neither here nor there. This is the kind of card that when a new player looks at it, they realize there are better options for this. I could do this effect better. And they get to swap it out. And they get to have that moment where they realize, man, I think I just became a decent Magic player, or at least a better Magic player, because I could identify a bad card. There are some cards that are designed, they have to be designed for a limited environment and for new players to look at and go, what the hell is this? And get it out of their decks. And that's what Throttle is. I think that that's exactly the where this fits. The purpose of this card is limited removal and for new players to identify that it's bad and to fill out booster packs so that people think they're getting value when they buy those. Don't get me wrong, I still buy booster packs. I love them. Just the thrill of cracking the pack feels great. You don't really get much out of it, and I know I'm not going to get value. And that's saying, I mean, I've cracked I don't know, about 20 Throne of Eldraine packs so far, and I've gotten 2 Okos. So I think I'm doing okay. And as a result, I've broken even, because you better believe I flipped those things. Well, I flipped one of them. I'm sitting on the other one because it was after the bubble burst on it before, yeah, when I cracked that. Anyway, doesn't matter. Neither here nor there. So, Throttle. New players can look at this and go, meh. And that's not nothing. There's something to be said for that. That is an experience that those of us who've been playing for a while often forget. And I think that that's worth noting. It's very easy to look at a common like this and go, man, this card sucks. There isn't a single deck I could ever put this in. Why does it exist? Why did they bother wasting the cardboard on this? Well, and the reason that they did that is because Wizards does not make their money on the Pro Tour. They do not make their money with players who love the game like you and me, who make this kind of content. They make their money because millions of people want to join the party. And there's something to be said for helping people do that. And great cards help make the game exciting and fun and explosive. And not so great cards can sometimes help with getting people on board and getting people spun up and getting people to understand the value of 1 mana and what you need to get out of that. So the card's not good. Like, objectively, it's not a competitive card. And it's not even that fun. It's not like it does something interesting. There are a lot of bad cards out there that do interesting things that you can kind of build around and kind of have fun with, making kind of like Gumpy Rube Goldberg machines. I do that kind of crap all the time, and it's super fun. We're gonna get into those. Like, the moment that the random card engine drops me on some red chaos stuff, or like I have some pet cards out there. One comes to mind. I love the fact that I can call it a pet card too because it's so appropriate. Called Leashling. We're going to talk about that at some point because it's a terrible, terrible card that actually has a worse rating than Throttle. And it's just, there are weird fringe uses for it. And I think those weird fringe uses are great. This card, however, doesn't have any of those. It doesn't really have any weird fringe uses. When it lands, it removes 1 creature. Okay, there's a time and a place to remove a creature. But, there are a lot more efficient ways and better ways to do that. All right, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. We did it. It was a long journey, full of boring nonsense, but we got there and we did it together. So thank you so much for hanging around. I appreciate it. My name is Graham, also known as Hamhocks42. You can catch me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Hamhocks42. I stream over there every morning from 5:30 to 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time because I'm a maniac. And that's actually my morning workout as well. So if you want to see me lose a bunch of games and then do squats for every game I lost and every misplay I had, that's the place for you. We have a ton of fun over there, and there's a lot of folks from around the world. You're more than welcome to, wherever you're from, please come on over, hang out. If you have any questions about cards too, that's something that ends up happening a lot in that conversation, where we kick around dumb deck ideas and we have conversations around cards that aren't any good or deck brews that people aren't playing, but we think that might be fun. That's what we're all about. It's all about having fun. This is a game. We need to remember we're playing a game, guys. But let's play that game. Let's play the piss out of it and let's have some fun. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I do this every night. So you can expect this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. It's also available on YouTube with the benefit of video. And I hope you're having a fantastic morning, afternoon, night, wee hours of the morning for you party animals out there. I'm glad I got to spend the night with you. And yeah, man, tip one back. Woo! I don't know. it's late here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go get some sleep. Thanks so much. I'll catch you guys next time.